This is 5 on Your Side at 6. Focused on you.
New tonight and only on 5 on Your Side, an interview with Janae Edmondson and her family. Just a day after a jury recommended nearly a 20-year sentence for the driver who hit her.
It's never going to be enough, in my opinion. It never will be. But it's just something I have to accept and just move on forward.
The teenager from Tennessee lost her legs when a car slammed into her in downtown St. Louis last year. This week, she testified at the trial, where the man who hit her was found guilty. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Kelly Jackson. Christine Byers is just back from sitting down with Janae Edmondson and her parents. She is here with the exclusive interview.
Ann and Kelly, this is one of the most powerful and emotional interviews I've ever done. Janae Edmondson and her family have gone through so much over the past year. This afternoon, I sat down with Janae, her father James Edmondson, and her mother Francine Edmondson. Each one of them testified this week at the trial of Daniel Riley and spoke again during the sentencing phase. Riley was found guilty of assault, armed criminal action, and other charges. The jury recommended he spend 19 years in prison. Today, Janae said she's been through a lot, but is thankful for all of the support she's received. I asked her this afternoon about her reaction to the verdict.
I was pleased that he was found guilty with pretty much everything that he was charged with. But at the end of the day, he has legs. I don't. So he doesn't have to.
Now, this interview lasted more than 45 minutes, and we talked about the verdict, the sentencing hearing, and there's still more to come, and Janae's future.
So what did they say about Kim Gardner? Because the pressure was really starting to mount after this happened on her and her office.
Absolutely. They had a lot to say about the Kim Gardner administration. Mainly, her mother wants to see Kim Gardner's law license revoked.
Now, I know they have been also keeping track of news within St. Louis. So what do they think about the latest incidents that have happened with other pedestrians?
That's absolutely right, Kelly. They referenced the mother and daughter who were just killed after the Drake concert, and they talked about some other fatal accidents that they've heard about over this past year, and they basically said that the city has failed them. They feel that the city hasn't done anything in the past year to address pedestrian safety, and they are tired of seeing it happen over and over again.
Did she talk at all, Janae, just about the fact that she sat in a courtroom and looked at Daniel Riley for 3 straight days?
She did. She talked about how, there was no sort of sign of emotion that she could tell from his face, that was very strange to her. But he also was wearing face masks as well, so it was kind of really hard to tell.
She is 18 or 19 now?
She is 18 now.
And she's in college, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How was she?
She's adjusting pretty well. She is bound and determined to get up and walk on a prosthesis. And it's a really, really long process because there's so many nerve endings at the end of her legs. It's not just as simple as getting fitted and getting up. Right. I mean, it's a whole process. There's more surgeries planned. She's had 23 surgeries already. So there's a lot ahead of her.
And more time in court because they have a pending civil lawsuit against the city and Daniel Riley and his mother. So we'll continue to follow that. Christine, thank you for all of your coverage.
And today, St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore held a news conference discussing the wholesale changes this case brought to his office. Gore says the verdict sends a clear message to the community. 5 on Your Side's Holden Kerwicki continues our team coverage.
There are some crimes that resonate deeply with the community, and this is one of them.
13 months after Janae Edmondson lost her legs, changing her life forever.
I wake up in the morning every day, and I'm immediately reminded of what happened. And I never want anyone to experience the pain, the sadness, and the helplessness I felt.
St. Louis City Prosecuting Attorney Gabe Gore says the emotional testimony from the teen and her family was key to his case against Daniel Riley.
She said to me that day, "Mom, please make sure he doesn't get out. Don't let him do this to anyone else."
One thing that will resonate always with me is the resilience of Janae and her family and her determination to not be defined by the horrific injuries she suffered.
Riley was out on bond at the time of the crash and had violated the terms of his release more than 40 times, which Gore says has led to an overhaul of how his office handles cases.
I have emphasized with our assistant circuit attorneys that they need to really focus on monitoring what's going on with defendants who are on bond.
During the course of the 4-day trial, it was revealed that the 22-year-old Riley had marijuana, codeine, and fentanyl in his system and sped up in the moments prior to the crash.
Our conviction of Daniel Riley sends a clear message to the community. We will prosecute those who choose to engage in reckless driving with no regard for the lives of others to the fullest extent of the law.
Gore says he's satisfied with the 19-year sentence recommended by the jury, but there's still work to be done.
Because he will still be able to walk, even after the time that you guys in the court give him. He'll be able to run, he'll be able to bend, he'll be able to do all those things. My daughter will not.
Riley's attorneys now have 10 days to file an appeal. He will be back in court on April 18th for final sentencing. Reporting in downtown St. Louis, Holden Kerwicki, 5 on your side.
We have extensive coverage of the Daniel Riley case on KSDK.com, the 5 on Your Side app, and 5+ on your Apple, Amazon, Fire, or Roku TV.
A woman rescued from a fire in Wright City overnight has died from her injuries. A firefighter pulled the woman and her 3-month-old baby from their burning home on Westwoods Road around 12:30 this morning. The baby and her father are in critical condition. You can see the home was heavily damaged. 2 other people inside of that home escaped. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. The Wright City Fire Protection District is collecting donations for the family. They're encouraging people to drop them off at Fire Station number 1. Let's take a live look outside downtown at the Arch. It's starting to get dark. This is the weekend we move the clocks forward an hour, and that means it will be getting darker later. Woohoo! This is also a good weekend to change the batteries, of course, in your smoke detectors. Let's bring in Scott Connell, our chief meteorologist.
Yeah, you know, we have some rain still lingering. We ended that weather alert early today because most of us have managed to get through the evening rush hour without a whole lot of rain, and so the impacts weren't as great as what we saw for the morning rush hour around St. Louis. That radar, though, we've seen a little uptick in the last couple of hours, east and southeast of St. Louis, with some of this rain sliding on through. Most of it's still very much on the light side. Occasionally you get into a little brief downpour, especially in the Metro East, and then heading down to the southeast of St. Louis. That includes around Redbud, over towards Sparta, and then back down close to Farmington, Noblick, down towards Fredericktown. We'll see this rain winding down this evening. We'll talk about a cooler weekend in just a few minutes.
A St. Louis County man is behind bars accused of shooting and killing his mother in their Olivet home. Tonight, his attorney tells 5 on Your Side that his client believed his mom was actually an intruder. Justina Cornell spoke to the defendant's attorney just hours ago, and she joins us from the newsroom with more on this. Justina?
Kelly, Will Goldstein tells me he's known the family for several years. He said 56-year-old Monica McNichols Johnson and her son, 25-year-old Jalen Johnson, loved each other very much.
And I got a frantic call from Monica's father telling me what happened.
It was a call for help. And attorney Will Goldstein answered to assist a family he's known for several years.
They're a very nice family.
Goldstein is now representing 25-year-old Jalen Johnson. On Thursday morning, police arrived to Huron Drive in Olivet. Police say a woman was found with a gunshot wound, and paramedics attempted life-saving measures, but Monica McNichols Johnson died at the scene. The very same day, prosecutors charged her son, Jalen Johnson, with voluntary manslaughter and armed criminal action. Goldstein defends his client.
Jalen thought that there was an intruder coming in through the back door, and he fired shots. And this whole thing is just tragic, and Jalen hasn't stopped crying since.
Police say they believe the defendant poses a danger to the community based on the context of the shooting, but more details weren't disclosed.
You know, as long as we have this easy accessibility to guns in the community, whether for good or bad, whether just to defend your premises or whatnot, unfortunately things like this happen.
Safe Connection works to reduce relationship violence that can look different in multiple scenarios.
I think it's hard to know who to turn to when you're in a situation like this. First of all, do you want people to know? Maybe there's some feelings of shame.
They want to remind people there's always help.
No one thinks this is going to happen to them, and we hope it doesn't. So please reach out before it reaches a point of grave danger. Reach out when you're getting concerned and when things are starting to feel a little out of control or just not right.
The defendant was in court today and he's being held on bond. He'll be back in court next week for a bond hearing.
Coming up, the St. Louis Archdiocese is closing more schools, the two that will not reopen this fall.
Plus, MoDOT kicks off a massive I-55 improvement project in Jefferson County. The reason the groundbreaking had to be moved.